Plaintiff Sean McAllister first dated the defendant in high school, and then they reconnected years later and rekindled their romance. Sean claims after they moved in together, the defendant became lazy and couldn't hold a job, so they broke up. He's suing her today for personal property. Defendant Lori Brownlee says after she moved in with Sean, he became emotionally and verbally abusive. Lori says Sean wanted to get married, but she refused. And then he wanted her to have his baby. Lori's countersuing for unpaid rent.
Start with you.
Me and the defendant, Lori Brownlee, started dating in high school. We broke up and got reacquainted in 2005. And then I seen her situation with her living at her parents' house, where she was sleeping on her mom's couch with her 6-month-old baby. And, really wasn't any room.
He's a liar. He was sleeping on his parents' couch. I had a bed to sleep in. And my children.
Okay.
You're the one sleeping on your parents' couch and you're whining because the dog was always trying to lay on you.
Okay.
Go ahead, sir.
So I felt sorry for her situation, so I had money saved up. So I asked her if she wanted to move in with me. We started dating again, so.
I never moved in with him. We moved in together to a house.
We ended up moving into a house together, and we both signed the lease, and the agreement was that once she got a job, which she didn't have a job for like 2 years once we met. 2 years prior to that, she hadn't had a job, so I knew it was going to take her a little while to get a job. So I gave her.
Ma'am, be quiet. I'll get to you.
I gave her a chance to get a job, and a while went by, and she finally got it. She finally did get a waitressing job, but she didn't keep it for very long, maybe 2 months, not even.
Why?
He didn't
She got fired for being late all the time and just not doing her job.
He's a liar.
So they got rid of her.
You all moved in. Did you all get along while living together?
Yeah. As far as her not finding a job is really what the problem was.
He didn't want me to work.
And
Did you work?
Yeah, I worked. I worked 12-hour graveyard shifts, so I paid for everything.
She says you didn't want her to work.
He wanted me to stay at home
I wanted her to work. That was the agreement when we moved in.
Let me hear from her. Go ahead.
First of all, Your Honor, we met and we were together in high school for a year. He broke up with me. 5 years later, we met back up again. I decided to give him another chance. We decided to move in together 5 months later. Then I realized how emotionally and verbally abusive he really is. He complained about my weight, was telling me how I was gaining weight. He wanted me to stay at home. Then he realized that it wasn't as easy as he thought it'd be. He had asked me to marry him, and I told him no after a couple months of being together. You're a liar.
That's not true, Your Honor.
He asked me to marry him, and I told him no. It was too soon.
I never asked her to marry me. Never had a ring or nothing.
I didn't want to marry you. And then he wanted me to have his baby. My son was 5 months old.
Not true. She had 2 kids. I had a kid. I didn't want any more kids.
Let's get a lie detector. He is blatant. He's lying.
So how did it all come to a head and it caused you to lose your property?
Well, I said, I'm tired of it. I'm going to move. Either one of us are going to move out because both of us were on the lease. She didn't have a job, so, I figured I was the one that was going to stay and keep finishing out the lease. Well, she said that she didn't want to move out. She didn't want to go back to her parents' house. She didn't have nowhere to go but her parents' house. She didn't want to go back there sleeping on her couch. So she said, I'd rather you just move out. So I told her, I was like, okay, I'm going to move out. This was the end of May when we called the landlord and told her all this. I told her in June, I'll move out at the end of June. So I gave her 30 days and everything. I even paid rent for July.
Liar.
Tell me about the lawsuit today, the value of the property you're suing her about. How did this come about? What happened?
Well, I left, moved all my stuff out. She didn't want me to take that property because she didn't have.
What property are you referring to?
There was a couch, a love seat, a washer and dryer, and a bed.
Okay.
That I bought and paid for all.
So she didn't want you to take those things.
First, the agreement was that, I might take half of it and she'd pay me for half. Or
tell me what actually happened. The agreement and what actually did happen.
Well, she just kept giving me to run around.
What actually did happen?
Well, finally I was like, I'm coming to get the furniture. That's it. She said, take me to court. I even tried to call the cops. They said, there's nothing they can do about it. Take her to court.
Okay, so that's why you're suing for those items.
Yeah.
All right. Ma'am, what do you say?
We got the items after we moved in together. I already had a couch, a washer, a dryer, table, and everything. We got it because he had claimed me and my children on his taxes, and then we used that money to get the couch, the love seat, the bed, the washer and dryer, because everything that I had wasn't good enough for him.
Sir, did you all get it after moving in with each other?
Yeah, it was a year after we moved in with each other.
All right. And what was the purpose of getting it?
Well, the purpose was that, you know, I had the money, so I wanted to buy new stuff. She had her parents' stuff. You know, it was all used and everything. The washer and dryer didn't even work.
You all going to have mutual use of it, obviously?
No, I bought it with my...
You weren't going to have mutual use. Her kids couldn't sit on it?
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
While we were together.
You all going to have mutual use? Everybody could use it?
Yes.
All right. How long did you intend to live with her? Or are you all to be together?
Well, I figured it was, you know, we could work it out. She would get a job.
When you did all this, what did you believe? Did you say, I'm doing this so that we can be together and we can have some furniture while we're together?
Oh, yeah.
All right. So what that says to me is that you purchased it for the household. And just because you get upset and want to leave the household, you can't throw the kids off their bed and say, this is mine. Well, I'm taking it back.
That's why I told her when we bought it that I was buying this furniture, that it was my furniture, that as long as we stayed together.
No.
Yes, I told her as long as we
together. I have the receipts. We purchased it together.
It's all in my name.
With the tax return, he claimed me and my children.
It's all in my name.
Well, ma'am, I'm not going to delve into how you obtained the money to buy it. The question is, who owns it?
Wait,
whether you will notice. Pardon me?
I own it. He waited 2 years after he moved out to come after me for stuff.
Because
all right. And you owned it based on what? You paid for it?
No, I didn't have a job. He broke up with me 3 days after I had a tonsillectomy, and it was on Father's Day when he left me. He knew I didn't have a job and that I couldn't work because I had my tonsillectomy done. And then he decides that 2 years later he wants to come after me and get the stuff. He had already went to the house after a few months later.
Had he asked you for it previously?
No. He never mentioned anything.
He's lying.
When is the first time you asked for your furniture, sir?
As soon as we broke up.
No.
All right. And it took you 2 years?
No, I've talked to her plenty of times after that. As soon as she said,
take
me to court, she never answered.
I got 2 truckloads of stuff a couple months after. So if you were going to get the stuff, why didn't you get it there?
Furniture. You wouldn't let me take it.
I let you take whatever you wanted out of the house.
That's enough. That's enough. Your counterclaim for $4,800 for unpaid rent is for what?
Because he broke the lease and I didn't have a job. He was the sole provider. I stayed at home and took care of the children, and I provided food in the house because I had food stamps.
He moved out what month?
He moved out in June of 2007.
And did you seek to get a replacement roommate?
No, because I have my 2 children. I went out and I have a job. He's not working currently, and he's got a girlfriend that's pregnant, and that's why he's coming after me.
No, that has nothing to do with it, Your Honor. This was brought.
I have a job and he doesn't work.
I tried to bring this into court way prior to any of that.
Unfortunately, ma'am, you have an obligation to try and get a substitute roommate. And you know, people move in together and play husband and wife, and then once they break up after playing husband and wife, you don't have the rights and the legal recourse of a husband or a wife, and so you're just stuck, which is the case here. The law is that if you have a roommate and you are on a joint lease, and that's what he was your roommate in addition to being your boyfriend. So the landlord-tenant law regarding leases and roommates is that once one of the roommates moves prior to the expiration of the lease, then the one who has left is responsible up until the time the person remaining there either obtains a roommate or within a reasonable time. So I'll grant you 3 months worth of rent after he left, because that will, in my opinion, have been a reasonable amount of time. Show me what evidence you have that you paid it.
Well, I have a statement right here.
Evidence. Statement from whom, sir?
From my cousin. He was present there.
Saying what?
That I paid for July's month rent, and I left her the $1,000 security deposit also.
Ma'am, did he do that?
No,
he didn't give you July's rent.
The only time his cousin was there.
How did you pay it, sir?
The $1,000. She's got all the receipts. She would not give me any documents.
How did you pay it, sir?
I paid it with a money order.
All right. Why didn't you keep a copy of the money order, sir?
She has the copy.
Why did you give her both the original and the copy, sir?
She had all the documents, all the receipts to all the furniture and everything. She
in
had
the future, sir, keep a copy of money orders. That's why they have a copy, so that when you come to court, you can present it as evidence, not your cousin's letter. So I'm not going to grant you something based on your cousin's letter when you paid over $1,600 as you claim in money orders and have absolutely no evidence of such.
But I paid for all the rent for the whole over a year. I paid for everything
We're
for her
talking
and her
about
2
from the
kids
time
and
you
everything.
moved out, sir. What you paid before you moved out is irrelevant today.
Well, I mean, she didn't pay for anything. I figured. I gave her a month's notice. She said she wanted me to move out.
So
I
I'm
would
going
have
to give
stayed
you
there.
half the value of the personal property that you're suing her for. And ma'am, I'm going to give you 3 months worth of rent. Your rent was what per month? $600?
$600.
All right. Your judgment is $1,800. $2,359 is your judgment, sir, for the personal property that you're suing her for. I'm going to conclude that those were joint assets. You all were living together. You bought them for the purpose of the family use. And I don't believe that you bought them with the expectation in mind that you all were going to split up. Folks don't buy things for a household when they know they're going to split up. That's not how that goes. Yeah. They say, I'm going to stash my money in another account so they don't know where it is. I'm not buying anything at all. I'm going to sucker him into buying it, and then I'm going to pay for it. Now, that may be what she did, suckered him into buying it, knowing that you were going to leave. Is that what you did?
The stuff I had was functionable.
All right. That's my judgment. Have a good day.
I don't want anything to do with him. I can't stand him. He makes me sick just looking at him.
Well, I don't really have nothing to say about her. So, I mean, what's done is done. It's over. Move on.